my
all
gosh.
right. This is Mark's watching for making the cut. I am here with two original members, by the way, of the Haternation today, with Michael McNutt and Byron Whitaker. Today we're going to talk about, since it's such a dead period in sports right now, we want to talk about our fans of our NFL teams. We're all fans of signature franchises. We've all been through the ups and downs with those franchises. McNutt with the Washington Redskins, my boy Dub here with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and myself with now the Las Vegas Raiders. And in my lifetime, they've had like 5 different names. You know, Oakland to Los Angeles, back to Oakland, now to Las Vegas. They might be in Albuquerque before I die. But we'll start off with you, McNutt. Like, what were some of the worst moments you've had being a Washington Redskin fan?
Well, I mean, you mean like what, 4:05 p.m. today? It's pretty bad right now. But no, I mean, of course, and we've known each other for years, so you know what I'm going to pick. You know, January 1984, your Raiders put the boots to the Redskins. By the way, you know, a lot of people, just because they lost that game, and I don't know if we're allowed to cuss on me, because they got their booties kicked so badly. People seem to forget how bomb that team was. That team was pretty goddamn good, all right? But that day, I remember it fully, just like in the back. It just burns in the back of my head, in the front of my head, in my loins. It burns everywhere. I remember Jim Vance was on Channel 4, had to give one of them speeches like, don't burn the city down because we lost to the Raiders. It was one of those. And I cried to sleep that night. So that by far, in my multi-decades worth of fandom with the Redskins, that was definitely the low, because I was so up for that game, and the Redskins obviously were not.
And you're right. The Redskins were so good that year. At the time being, I think they had 541 points for the season. It was an NFL record for the season that they set there before they scored that dismal 9 points.
Exactly. That was the thing. I would have been fine with them losing 38-35. I've been like, you know what? They came out and they did their thing. But to lose 38-9, man, like, what was I going to do the second half of that game? There's no cable. I just literally have to watch.
I remember leading up to that. So you know, I went to school in the area here, and I remember them handing out cards, Redskin cards, before the Super Bowl. Like, here, take your cards, cheer on the team after that. After that game, nobody said a word. That coming Monday, nobody said a thing about the game. It was just like, what happened? What happened? Nobody wants to talk about it no more.
It's like, obviously, this is a really long dream, and when I wake up, it'll be Sunday morning, and we'll be ready to play. Because they played the Raiders earlier that year, and it was a great game. They went back and forth. It was like, you know, kickoff returns, 99-yard touchdown passes, onside kicks, all sorts of craziness. So I'm like, oh, this is just going to be just as exciting. Wrong.
Nope.
Wrong.
What about you, Dub? What about you and the Steelers? I mean, you guys have a whole bunch of rings, but there has to be some bad moments in there.
Oh my God, yeah. So yeah, there's a bunch of rings, but a lot of them were from when we were 4, 5, 6 years old, right? Right. So I mean, they have 4 before I turned 8, right? Now they got a quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, who's had 2 in the last 20 years.
I thought you were going to say who's had some issues with the law.
Well, no, that was consensual. We will stick with that.
According to a court of law.
He never went to court. Never went. He wasn't charged. It was consensual.
That's like, those are OJ apologists. Well, according to the trial.
The glove didn't fit. You heard him? The gloves didn't fit. You have to acquit that, right? Yeah, but in between, so for us, in between Bradshaw and Big Ben, we've had Mark Malone, we've had Cliff Stout. I'm checking a list here because I can't remember all these scrubs. Mark Malone, David Woodley, Scott Campbell. Who the hell is that?
You had Mike Tomczak.
Bono, Mike Tomczak, Bubby Brister. Those were some good years. I actually had a Bubby Brister jersey. Neil O'Donnell, he took us to the Super Bowl and then proceeded to pee all over himself in the Super Bowl, giving it away to the Cowboys. Mike Tomczak, Cordell Stewart. I mean, listen, Jim Miller. Listen to some of these names, and that is the farce that we were in the 80s and the early 90s. But Without Ben, we got Ben now, but you saw a taste of what the future is going to be like last year with Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges. I mean, we're going to go right back to where the Redskins are, where the Raiders are. Sorry, no, I don't mean to offend you both, but we're going right back to where you guys are in like 2 to 3 years. Whenever Ben decides he's tired of putting up with this non-offense that we have. So,
and I think that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. All of us together at the bottom. That's where it should be.
I'll drink to that. Salute.
Didn't Barry Sanders steal Woodson's knees?
Yeah, he did. He made that brother turn to safety. He made that brother turn to safety.
He did. Tore him up. I got the jersey on the wall, and that's about what happened. Once he saw Barry Sanders, he put his own jersey on the wall. It was like, that's it.
You got Rod's knee brace on the wall, too?
That's what I should have got him to sign, find the knee brace, because it was over after that.
And that was the game also where who hit Mike Tomczak so hard, that joker threw his helmet off in sheer pain. We sat there at your dad's house, Mook, and said, whoever hit him set Mike Tomczak on fire.
I thought it was like Tracy Scroggins. It was like Scroggins or something like that who hit Tomczak that day.
Yeah. Well, good riddance. We didn't need him.
Well, for the Raiders, I mean, there are so many moments for me going back to the 80s, playoff home losses to the Jets. That's the only reason anyone knows who Lance Mel is. Lance Mel had 3 interceptions that day. 85, the loss to the Patriots with Craig James that ended up being one of the worst Super Bowls. But by far the worst thing, it's not even a game. The worst thing for me with the Raiders was trading Jim Lachey for Jay Schrader. A known locker room answer, and you gave up the best tackle in football.
We'll take that very well. Thank you very much.
How could a franchise be so stupid? That was worse than getting rid of Marcus Allen. It's worse than anything they've ever done was the trade for Jay Schrader.
I don't know, man. Getting rid of Marcus Allen has got to be up there on the list. There was no reason for that. There was absolutely no reason. No backup, nothing.
Him and Al never got along. Think about it, too. They thought they had something in Bo Jackson, and then Bo ends up getting hurt. But what the Schrader thing complicates and compounds upon itself, because that's after Schrader wasn't going to work. They drafted Marinovich out of USC.
That
dude had every problem you could think of.
I forgot about Marinovich. Oh, man. He was deemed your starter, and how many games did he start? Like 6?
Something like that. You know what's even worse? He had not started all season, and then they start him in a playoff game against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah,
man. What are the Raiders doing?
Was so garbage. And we all know garbage quarterbacks. Like Dub was just going through all them garbage quarterbacks the Steelers got. I mean, every game for the past 7-8 years, the TV has shown all the old former Redskin quarterbacks ever since, 2000. Brad Johnson, Jeff George, Tony Banks, Shane Matthews, Patrick Ramsey. They were talking about Patrick Ramsey the other day. Ivan Carter was talking about who was that quarterback that the old ball coach almost got killed out there and he got all shell-shocked, and people were like, Patrick Ramsey.
Had to be Ramsey.
So all 3 of these franchises also won Super Bowls and have had very, very good moments. Starting with you, Dub, like you said, the Steelers had a bunch before you were even 10 years old. But what are some of the other better moments you've seen as a Steelers fan?
Man, the better moments. I mean, you gotta love the Super Bowl. So there's 3 Super Bowl appearances here in the 2000s or the 2010s. So you gotta love all of those, man. But really, what comes to mind is the few victories versus the Patriots, and there's been a few. There's been like 4, and the times that we took out the Ravens in the playoffs. Those are, it doesn't matter if we win the Super Bowl or not after that. Seeing Palomalu dive over the line and tackle Joe Flacco as he's standing in mud. I mean, that warms my heart, man. That brings a hater a smile, man. Just those moments. And I'm kind of sad that we're not going to get to see the end of Brady in New England. I wanted him to go out, pushing a wheelchair out there and just getting crushed in a Patriots uniform. That's what that would have really made my whole decade, man. I might have been able to put my own shirt on the wall at this point. It's just like, take it out. But But the victories versus the Ravens, the few victories versus the Patriots are what us Steelers fans kind of live for. So that's it.
So as a Steelers fans, are we to the point where Ravens are your main rivalry?
Absolutely. We hate them. We hate anything the color purple. I've got 3 daughters in the house. I forbid them all to wear anything purple. There's nothing purple in my household. That is our number one rival, and they hate us just the same.
You don't even watch The Color Purple, the movie.
I won't even watch The Color Purple. Exactly. And they would hate us too, but they're not smart enough to realize that we're their rivals. So I'm not sure who they hate. It's probably the Cleveland Browns or something like that. But they're our rival. They're the team that we hate the most. They have an MVP right now that I'm hoping slips on a banana peel like John Wall and tears his ACL or something. Not for career, but at least for the next couple of years until Ben retires. Then he can come back.
That's pretty awesome.
How about you, Nut? in Washington.
I like how Dub prefaced it with, well, we have all the Super Bowls in the 2000s and the 2010s. It's like, I can't really talk about anything recently. I would say the one time, to go into my adulthood, the one time I was actually happy was the RG3 year. All right? Because we won the NFC East. RG3 was like this wonder kid, like this new era of Redskin greatness and of quarterback greatness. And then Haloti, what we used to call Haloti Nada, took care of that real quick. And then from there, it just went downhill. But that was, as an adult, that's my fondest memory. As a kid, of course, 82, 83 with the loss, 87 with Doug, and 91. I was a college freshman then. But really, 87 with Doug was really special because, A, no one expected them to make it. B, it was the strike shortened year, so you also were rooting for all those strike guys from those 3 games, who, by the way, never seemed to get any kind of press in that goddamn movie, The Replacements. By the way, that's based on the Washington Redskins strike season. I didn't see no black quarterback out there. I sure as hell saw Keanu Reeves out there. Was that supposed to be a brother? Was that supposed to be that brother?
Hey, man, Keanu Reeves, he has range. Haven't you seen John Wick?
Yeah, he does have range. I don't know if he has black guy quarterback range, but he has range.
He's a brother. But
that year, Doug, I was a big fan of Doug, even when he was with Tampa Bay, even when he was in the USFL. So to see him behind center, that season, all the craziness. And you ever want to catch the football documentary on the NFL Network with Doug, man, it'll make you cry, just the crap that he went through. And then at the final, to hear the announcement in Jack Murphy Stadium that he was the MVP, that was it for me. I'm set. I'm like, we don't have to win another one for the rest of my life. We won one in 91, and then I said, we don't have to win another one the rest of my life. And obviously, God has said, okay.
Sure, you got it.
Whatever you say.
You got it, yeah.
Well, as an adult, the Raiders really haven't done anything in my lifetime except go to that Super Bowl and get sandblasted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
By their own boy.
Right. Where the current coach doesn't change any of the plays or any of the audibles. How stupid do you have to be?
Yeah. Hey, but you got a draft pick for him.
Oh, yeah. Don't even get me talking about their draft. No, I mean, for the Raiders, you pick and choose. There's not much to choose about of late. I was not a fan of bringing John Gruden back. So I really have nothing positive to say for my adulthood. Obviously, with childhood.
You got that really cool stadium. You're going to have that really cool stadium.
And I'll actually go. It will be the first time that I'll see the Raiders play a home game. Every time I've gone to see the Raiders, it's always been on the road. But now that they've moved to Vegas, I will go see a home game. I was not going to Oakland. And I had people say, well, you're not a real fan if you don't go see him in Oakland. Oh, yes, I am a real fan. No, what do I have to prove by going to the worst stadium in the NFL?
I ain't got nothing to prove going to Oakland.
In one of the worst cities, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've been to Three Rivers, and I felt like that was a dump.
It was.
I went there in the last season. That was a dump. But then I went to PNC, which is their baseball stadium that's up there now, and that was super duper nice.
It's nice, man. It's nice up there now. But you're right. Three Rivers was a dump. I'm a Mets fan. Shea Stadium, super dump. just because something's been around for a while doesn't mean that it's nice. But yeah, going to Oakland, the stadium sucked and the city sucks. So there was no reason to go out there at all.
Right. I was going to burn up, PTO for my job to go out there for that. For what? And for them to suck.
Unless you know Too Short, there's no reason for you to be out there.
Oh, some of the worst.
No reason.
The worst music ever. But
just stay in San Francisco and just go across the bridge afterwards.
Right, exactly.
Don't even look back. It's
what I do when I go see Notre Dame. The only day I see South Bend is on game day. I stay in Chicago and I drive. I'm not staying in South Bend. And people are like, why don't you stay there? Have you ever been to South Bend?
Exactly.
What am I staying there for?
Yeah, there's nothing there. Nothing there.
So currently, I know we're not done with free agency, and I know we haven't had an NFL draft, but just starting with you, Dub, just kind of talk about where do you think the Steelers are today and where they're going in this upcoming season?
I'll tell you where we're going. We're screwed and we're stuck. We're going to hell in a handbasket. We put $1 billion into Ben Roethlisberger, and you see he's starting to fall apart. The elbow's starting to fall apart. Us Steelers fans were all happy because he's able to throw on video. That was last month. That's March. March, he was throwing, and we're happy. And the reason is because we have, Bubby Brister number 2 and Mark Malone number 2 behind him. There's nothing there. We traded our first round draft pick for Minkah Fitzpatrick. He was good for us last year. So essentially he is our first round draft pick. We don't have a second. We have a third. So I don't know what we're gonna do, man. Our defense is decent. TJ Watt got robbed. He should have been the defensive player of the year. But he's still there. We brought back most of our defense. We lost Hargrave as a defensive lineman. He signed with, I think, the Jets. But that defense that was top 12 last year, coming back. We have most of our receivers. We're probably gonna go with another receiver. I would think probably another running back as well as James Conner. I love his heart. I love his story. They can't stay on the field, man. I mean, it's a shoulder, it's an ankle, it's a knee, so they're probably going to get another running back, probably a receiver, and then even after all of that, I don't know if it's enough to stop the Ravens. I hope so. I hope that John Wall's calling Lamar and telling him his secrets in the shower, for how to fall and hurt yourself, so you can miss another season. I still don't know. How come nobody's researched that story? How do you fall in your house and miss a whole season? You fall and shatter your Achilles? I don't even know that's a thing. How do you shatter your Achilles, first of all? And you did it in the shower. Anyway, back to the Steelers. Since we have no first, no second, we got to go receiver, and we'll probably try to bring in some low-level free agents like they always do, somebody that'll be there for special teams, because I think that's the only place where we've lost some people as special teams. They brought in another Watt, so I know how much you guys love J.J. Watt. So we have Barrett and T.J. on the same team now. I have no idea what that means. I guess it means there's going to be a camera.
Exactly. How many cameras can you have on the Watt family in one game? Not enough.
You should see the amount of Steelers fans that are like, oh shit, what are they gonna give up for JJ? JJ's gonna be there too. It'll be 3 Watts. 3 Watts and 0 wins.
Do they play Houston this year? Because honestly, they might have to buy 20 more cameras, because it has to be the family in the stadium. You're gonna have to have the JJ cam. There has to be one camera for JJ.
They did. When they signed Derek Watts, the Pittsburgh sports radio station reached out to get J.J. Watt's opinion. JJ, how do you feel that both of your brothers are here? And he's, of course, oh, it's great. It's great. Who the fuck cares? Who cares? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to curse if we can't curse. Who cares what J.J. Watt thinks about his brothers being in Pittsburgh? Who cares? But so long story made long. We're pretty much screwed. The division seems like it's the Ravens for the next 2, 3, 4 years. God help us if Ben retires, and if they're stupid enough to try to get rid of Mike Tomlin, then we're back to the Stone Ages of the '80s.
What about the Redskins?
Well, it's a year that ends with a number, so that means it's a rebuilding year. So once again, it's a rebuilding year, but this time it's with a new coach. Everyone's really high on Riverboat Ron Rivera because he tends to cuss a lot. Woo! All right, so that's great. So we got Kyle Allen the other day. We traded for him, which I expect him to be the opening day starter if the Redskin fans have their way.
Not only did you get him,
you know he's going to play 5 games this year. And
not only did you get him, you gave a 5th rounder for him. You gave a 5th rounder for Kyle Allen.
That's Raider-esque.
You start at some point this season. And he's going to go crazy until he F's up. And then it's back to Haskins.
Which is going to be first quarter? Yeah.
You never know because supposedly we don't know what's going on because everyone's an expert. So we are not going to draft Chase Young, okay? Even though everyone says you just should no, trade down because they don't have a 2nd round pick. So they're just like, you should trade down and draft Tua because that makes some goddamn sense, all right? So it's drafting Tua, trading down, picking up that other guy, what's his name? Simmons or something, a little further down, who they're like, who does he remind you of? They're like, LeVar Arrington. And I'm like, don't draft him.
He's also going to open up a bad restaurant and then close it on telling his employees.
Have a terrible radio show in the area.
He's not good for the team. He's not good if you have a radio station. He's not good if you got real estate where you want to plot a restaurant. He's not good for payroll. You don't want somebody that reminds you of LeVar Arrington.
No.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
You got Trent Williams. Trent don't want to be here. The whole context underneath it was because Bruce was here. Well, they got rid of Bruce, and then Trent said, gotcha, still don't want to be here.
He did. He did do that.
Yeah.
Well, with the Raiders.
Because they're asking for everything on the planet, and everyone's like, no, he'll be gone in a year anyway. We'll just wait this out.
Right.
But wait, you were offering us, Cleveland was offering us a king's ransom last year. Cleveland was like, why you got to bring up old stuff?
Right.
That was the last regime. Yeah.
That was that other dude.
Yeah.
We'll take a couple of nickels. We'll just wait this out.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I think that Washington and Pittsburgh might both have a better record than the Raiders. I mean,
you're going to have that sweet-ass stadium, though.
Right, but John Gruden, once again, has a quarterback that he doesn't want, which has been his whole existence with the Raiders are quarterbacks that he doesn't want. As they say, he'll date them, but he'll never marry them. So he's already looking for a replacement for Derek Carr. You would think, hey, maybe the Raiders will kick the tires on Cam Newton. But no. Now they're talking about it being the Chargers. So Cam will throw for 400 yards in the 2 games against the Chargers this year against the Raiders because that's going to happen. The Raiders
have Mariota. You have Mariota.
There you go.
And again, the Raiders for the 15th consecutive draft need defensive backs and wide receivers. How can that problem never get fixed? It never gets fixed. And then you see the thing with Eli Apple. Last week they had said that Eli Apple had agreed in principle to a contract with the Raiders, only for them to say last night, it's dead now. What did the Raiders do in that time?
Yeah.
You know what? I don't even want to blame the Raiders for that. That was Eli Apple. I'll blame Eli Apple for that because somewhere down the line, it's always Eli Apple's fault.
Yeah. On Twitter, they said Eli Apple's so bad that he missed signing the contract. He missed it.
Yes.
Signed the wrong place.
You mean this Marcus Mariota?
No, that Marcus Mariota. Oh,
I just picked this out from the trash.
There's your guy. Look, that's your guy. And your guy signed Vontaze Burfict.
I know, right? Who ended up getting suspended for most of last year on a dirty hit that the Raiders had a nerve to appeal. And I'm like, you're going to appeal that? How are you going to appeal that?
Oh man, it's comedy.
They're a comical franchise. They're the same franchise that trades one of the best pass rushers in the league, and then comes out on TV and say, "We're looking for a pass rusher." You had one.
Yes,
He's now in Chicago.
The very next week, he said, it's no secret, we're having trouble rushing the passer. No doubt.
Yeah, really?
I was doing it for you for 2 years. Yeah.
So definitely, I'm not looking for more than 5 or 6 wins out of Las Vegas. So, but I want to tell you guys, we got to do this again. Different subject matter. This was definitely a great time. And again, I'll give both of you all chances to tell people where to find you on social media.
Go ahead, Dub.
Well, mine's been the same since we've been the Hater Nation. It's BA Hater on Twitter. I don't do much of anything besides hate on people, laugh at stupid situations, find comedy and misery. That's about all I do. So a BA Hater on Twitter. You can find me.
Yeah, check out the Hater Nation on Twitter. Still out there retweeting bull and tweeting about wrestling and just stuff. Stuff.
All right, fellas.